Hey everybody, this is Chris with the Ancient Scholar. Just wanted to do a quick update on the YT IZZO. So, a couple of things. First and foremost, the YT IZZO has arrived, as you probably saw on a prior video. However, I have not built the bike up yet. The main reason being is there was an error on the ride wrap order. And the way that I see it, it just doesn't make sense to build the YT, ride it, and then when the appropriate ride wrap order gets in, to have to take the bike, do deep cleaning on it, install the ride wrap, and so on and so forth. So I've opted to wait for the ride wrap kit to come, apply the ride wrap, build the bike up, swap out the drivetrain, put a fender on, get the tires in tubeless, and then get the bike rolling. Hopefully that'll happen sometime this week. Probably not till the end of the week because I've got a pretty busy week at work ahead of me. So that's the big update there. Good news is we have our spring break next week, the week of March 13th, and I am looking at taking a trip to Tucson where I hope to be able to get a lot of good riding in on this bike in the Tucson area. There's an incredible amount of trail, both more cross-country oriented trail and more technically oriented trail, and hopefully with a week of good weather, warm temperatures, some of the snow they got at Mount Lemmon will melt off, and ideally I'd love to be able to ride Bug Springs, but that may not be an option quite yet, given the amount of snow they got last week. But I'm looking at maybe doing some shuttled riding of Molino Basin and just smashing that 2.5, 3 mile downhill section a few times to really push the bike into its limits, kind of like I did with the Santa Cruz Blur going down Dead Man Canyon. Unfortunately, the significant amount of late season snow that we've gotten here in southern New Mexico has eliminated Dead Man Canyon as an option right now because there's still a substantial amount of snowpack at the higher elevation, so we'll have to wait later on. All right, so that's the first thing. And then the second thing I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about were maybe some potential issues or concerns surrounding the YT IZZO. Some things that I've seen brought up. Mind you, I have not had a chance to ride it or get any kind of impression of it so far. So please take that into consideration. So these are just potentials. So the first potential concern that I've seen is of the bottom bracket. The bottom bracket on the YT IZZO is a press fit versus the threaded bottom brackets. And I would tend to agree that that might be a potential concern. All of my bikes are threaded. My Transition Sentinel is a threaded bottom bracket. My Santa Cruz Blur is a 73 millimeter BSA threaded bottom bracket. Oh, I do have an older Kona Process, which is a press fit bottom bracket. And interestingly enough, I have never changed the bottom bracket on that bike. And I've ridden I put about 3,000 miles on it since I got it back in 2018. I bought it off of eBay it was a used demo bike. So it had already had a fair amount of use and abuse on it, and then I've used it. I've cracked the rear rim. I've actually had to replace the whole rear rim and a hub on that bike. Because I kind of use it as my downhill bike, because it's a Kona Process 153, so it has kind of my long travel, and I just smash it as a downhill bike. So lift served access, those kinds of things. And I'm still running the OG bottom bracket, no creaking, no noise, no issues. I ran a press fit bottom bracket on my Trek Fuel EX7 that I got way back in 2015. Rode the crap out of that bike. Really no issues with the bottom bracket. So yeah, is it a potential issue? Is it maybe a little more limiting in some sense? Yeah, but am I really super concerned about a press fit versus a threaded bottom bracket, not particularly. I do understand that that does limit the ability to have certain chain guides or even chain guides at all. But again, I'm not particularly concerned for the most part. Uh, so that's the one major concern. Another concern that I've seen is in reference to the derailleur hanger. Um, and this is actually one of the reasons that I wanted to go with the Core 2 over other versions of the IZZO, is that the Core 2 uses the SRAM Universal Derailleur Hanger, the UDH. Um, the reason that's relevant for me and maybe not other people is that's the same derailleur hanger that my Santa Cruz Blur uses. And so now I have two bikes, can use the same derailleur hanger, and there is interchangeability and interoperability between the two bikes, which I think is optimal. So I think that's an asset of the Core 2 versus, say, the Core 3 and other versions of the bike, which do not use that universal derailleur hanger. And so I am quite happy to be having a bike that is going to be more interoperable with my fleet of bikes. The last thing is there are some concerns about the fork and the knock block, and or essentially it was a knock block. However, that does not apply to the size of frame that I'm running. I believe that only applies to the small and medium frame bikes. I'm running an extra large bike, so that's not really going to be an issue for me. So I think I don't really have any substantial concerns. Maybe the press fit bottom bracket will be more problematic, but you know, I had issues on the Blur. If you watched my prior videos, long-term review videos, I have had issues with the SRAM threaded bottom bracket and ended up having to went through warranty and had to get a new one. So again, I'm not super committed to threaded versus press fit bottom brackets. They both have worked well for me. And honestly, when it comes to like creaking and noises, most of the time it's been things other than the bottom bracket. It's been the seat post. That's a big problem. Seat post gets dusty and it creaks a lot, and you got to clean that out. Bushings and bearings going bad has been another one. So yeah, that's where I get most of my creaks and groans and noises. So yeah, take my experience with a grain of salt, obviously, because individual experiences may vary. All right, everyone, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you in an upcoming video where I can put the IZZO through its paces on its inaugural ride, possibly in Tucson, Arizona. Fingers crossed. All right, everyone, take care, have fun. We'll see you soon.